Is your home prepared for hurricane season? Don't wait till it's too late. Trust ServPro of Tampa Bay for expert care and helpful tips. Have a plan. Fill your gas tank, stock batteries, charge your phone, and take care of the pets. Call ServPro today and weather any storm with confidence.
Time, weather, and
How you doing, everybody? I'm Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips. Heat, still the hot topic of weather conversation, right? Just smashed the previous record for rainfall in Tampa. It's still a very nice day. We've got some clouds out there, even a couple of sprinkles as another front rolls through the area. Most of us wake up to sunshine and then very warm temperatures in the afternoon. Temperatures, they're going up and they're staying up. Really nice forecast, especially if you're planning on going to the beach or the pool. Rain chances very slim. Another beautiful day in store. It's going to bring us a very high chance of storms. Some isolated showers across the area. Mother Nature likes to remind us that it isn't set by a calendar. We're always on it for you just in case things begin to pop.
Streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A. This is Dennis Phillips Live Plus. Brought to you by ServPro, the #1 choice in cleanup and restoration.
I wish I had one of those clackers. Take two. Actually, my daughter, Ryan, you know how she is. You got anybody who's been on this. Now, we've got a lot of folks who aren't part of our regular crew, but the folks who are the loyal followers know my daughter Ryan very well. And she's been doing some, she started this club called ASDA. It stands for acting, singing, dancing, and I don't remember what the fourth thing is. But she bought a little clacker to make YouTube videos and whatnot. So anyway, I needed that little clacker. We're up and running now. Streamers, how you doing? You weren't, well, actually, you were seeing me just kind of hanging out here. You weren't seeing our graphics, and I thought it was kind of important that everybody see graphics today because we definitely have a tricky forecast, to say the least. The impact on the Bay Area South right now, it is just a lot of rain is expected. But so what's been going on and what's changing? Well, we normally have lots of hellos, but when you get thousands of people out here, we don't have time for our hellos. But when there's not a hurricane or a tropical storm or a depression around, you can stop on by as well. Be part of the chat group. We've been around for over 10 years. It's a really fun group, and it's just one of our loyal followers likened it to 1,000 people out in the backyard, all with their lawn chairs or foldable lawn chairs out, just everybody talking over each other and having a good time. That's kind of what we do. But clearly tonight and tomorrow and Friday, we're going to have some weather to talk about. So here's what I want to do. Okay, first of all, the folks who want to ask, and I know there's a lot of them out there, how is this going to impact me? I live here on 13th Street, and at 2:44 in the afternoon, can I walk my dog? I will get to those, but those are probably a little bit lower on the list because I want to go over what changes we've seen since yesterday, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into the models, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect. But right off the bat, the way I see this is, and you've heard me say this, I still got the cough, 11 billion times, the stronger a tropical system becomes, the more likely it is going to go north. It's Meteorology 101. It would go more poleward, if you will, toward the pole, right? Now, a weaker system is going to go more to the west. And what we have here is a relatively, here, I'll show you. What we have right here is a relatively weak system, okay? But today it has some convection, it has some rain, it has some energy, some storms around it, and it's doing its best to get rid of all the dry air around it. That's a slow go of it. So what I want to do, actually, you know what we will do? We'll start with that. Let's go ahead and jump over here and recap as to what it is that NOAA has been forecasting. 17 to 25 named storms. We've had 3. So we have a long way to go to get up to that number, but the odds of a frenetic period from mid-August to early October are still rather high, okay? Tropical storm and hurricane frequency. We're not going to talk about June. We're not going to talk about July. We are going to talk about August. August 1st, and you see historically what the trend would be from a storm coming in the spot that this one is. Usually, when you have an area which is right about there, more often than not, they come and eventually curve around a Bermuda high, okay? This high right here, okay? Now, when that high moves a little more to the west, it forces the track a little bit more to the west. Like you might see something that might impact more of Florida or maybe in the Caribbean and then eventually turning northward as it gets stronger. Because what did we just say? When a storm gets stronger, it'll be drawn north. So as a storm intensifies in the Caribbean, it likely is drawn north around for two reasons. One, it's around the perimeter of your high, and two, because they're drawn that way, okay? Like Jessica Rabbit said, I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way. Well, these are drawn more to the north, and that's August. But what happens when you have a storm that is a little bit weaker? More often than not, it is going to go more westward. So here's what we have right there. There is our latest. Now, at 8 o'clock, the Hurricane Center will update the odds of development. I would not be the least bit surprised if they bump this up to 70% by then. We haven't seen it yet. I'm looking actually right now and see if the new one's out yet. Yep, it is out, and it's still 60. It is still 60. So here, let's go ahead and I will show you what the NHC is saying. Let's just jump right in. This is the 8 o'clock advisory, and that is a good thing, right? It is a good thing that the Hurricane Center at this point is still not sold that this is going to develop whatsoever, okay? And I will explain why that is the case coming up in a minute. But here's the latest as of 8 o'clock. A tropical wave is producing a large area of disorganized showers and storms over Puerto Rico. Again, Puerto Rico, Dominican, Haiti, Cuba, no worries. This thing is going to stay disorganized through then, okay? Development of this system is not, I was going to highlight it, but I can't because I'm hovering. Development of this system is not anticipated during the next few days while it moves west-northwest over portions of the Greater Antilles. However, environmental conditions are forecast to become more conducive for development after the wave passes the Great Antilles, and a tropical depression could form this weekend or early next week over the eastern Gulf of Mexico or far southwestern Atlantic Ocean, including the vicinity of Florida. All right? So, what have we seen changing from today to yesterday? Well, the good news changing, at least in terms of model data, is folks who are traveling to the Bahamas this weekend, you're looking better. Because again, you have a track that's forecast to go more to the west. Now, from the beginning, the European model, which you guys know my love affair with the European model, has been anticipating a stronger system going more north, staying east of Florida. But now the Euro is looking more like the GFS, more of a weak, ragged rainmaker. So let's look at those new models, because I will tell you that they are all over the place, okay? And at this point in time, what they're trying to do is make a forecast for a storm that does not exist yet, right? And then at that point, once it travels in the direction that it should, westerly, because it's weaker, it tries to make heads or tails of where it's going to go. And when you see the track, you'll understand why it's just not there yet, okay? So let's go ahead and take the update, okay? And so again, this is good news for folks who are thinking about, so Aaron says, I wish I had a love affair with the European model. All right, so that's a really good one. I just glance at the comments from time to time when I'm talking about this. I'll answer all your questions later, but that's a good one. Aaron wants a love affair with a European model. Aaron, I don't blame you one bit. All right, so let's go ahead and take this full, and we will start to go over the updated models, because they are quite. Tell Kendall happy birthday. Kim, thank you very much. And my daughter Kendall just had her birthday a couple days ago. Okay, so here we go. We're going to look at, all right, we're going to start with the European model, okay? This is the latest Euro model. Okay, this is Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. This is Friday morning, right? It's still down to the south. In fact, you see the center of circulation over Haiti at this point, the Dominican or Haiti. But boy, there's not much to it, is there? Look at it right down there. There's your center of circulation. It is disorganized. There's very little to it. It goes near Cuba. Now look at the difference in track here. This is huge in terms of difference. Again, this is the Euro. This is the track right here. There's your low center. I'm going to get a little pencil here so you can see it. Your low center is right there. Where was it yesterday? Right there. A little smiley face there too. So look at the big difference. So more of a westward track as opposed to a northwestward track because of a number of reasons, including it's a weaker system. Okay? So there's where we are there. Now, let's continue to move this through time. This is Sunday afternoon. And you see the low west of Florida now in the eastern Gulf, still very disorganized. And then when it's west of Sarasota, it's starting to get a little bit organized Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. All right, I want to talk about this. I'm going to get back on camera for this one. Okay? So, you have a 2012 millibar, maybe a tropical depression at that point. This is the part of the forecast that a lot of folks obviously are concerned about. I understand. The Gulf is 91 degrees off of Clearwater. We liken it to jet fuel sometimes, even though we used to have a guy who worked here. He's like, Dennis, jet fuel is actually very cold. Valid point, but I'm still going to call it jet fuel because you guys get the energy, right? So when you have low pressure, even disorganized low pressure, in an environment with a ton of warm water, you're always a little concerned that this thing could develop faster than the models are showing. That is a possibility. That is not the forecast, but the GFS is hinting in that as it goes more toward the north. And we've been saying this for a couple of days. If anybody has to worry about this becoming more of an organized tropical storm or a stronger system, it would be the northern Gulf Coast, thus the Panhandle westward. But I did want to show that. Now let's go back, okay? And again, this is kind of a discussion explaining why, and then we'll get into what I think this means for us. But I think we also know that can change rather quickly depending on what happens with the models. You've heard me say many times the windshield wiper effect. Models will go left, 6 hours later they go right, then they go left again until there's agreement. Well, we're now starting to get a little more agreement because the GFS and the Euro are at least close to the same thinking. This is Sunday night at 8 o'clock. You see where the low is, you see where Florida is. This is a significant rainmaker for Florida. Still a disorganized weak system, very little dealing with wind unless it were to get unexpectedly stronger. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Look at what the Euro does. This is Monday. Brings it on shore as a depression, maybe a weak tropical storm in the Big Bend area. This is where it gets a little nutty because at that point the Euro then starts to take it south as a weak system because it's over land. And then it starts to kick it across the state or just sitting there for a period of time. If you remember Elena back in '86, that's a bad situation because you don't want a storm sitting there for 2 or 3 days. But from Monday right here to 8 p.m. to Wednesday at 8 p.m., you don't see a lot of movement. Remember we were saying earlier that we thought this thing could stall out in the Carolinas. Well, now the Euro is trying to stall it out over Florida. If this were to happen, that is some serious rain. Serious rain. Not a lot of wind, but some serious rain. And then it eventually... No, I'm totally wrong. This is the GFS. I'm totally wrong. The Euro looks very similar. But this is the it's the GFS. So the GFS brings it down and then kicks it back into the Gulf and then brings it out into the the northern Gulf as a tropical storm for the Panhandle, all right? So that was the GFS. These headers on this thing are a little bit crazy. All right, so yeah, there you go. So let me go up so you can see it better. Here is the Euro. The Euro does something similar, brings it up as a ragged system. There it is, right there west of us. brings it onshore as a nothing entity, and then brings it across the state and into the North Atlantic and starts to develop it as a hurricane off the northeast coast of the North Carolina border. Doesn't make it onshore. So let's do this again. GFS is here. Yep, there's the GFS. GFS is here, brings it west of our area, stalls it out north, starts to sink back south as a rainmaker for a couple of days, and then lifts it back north into the Panhandle as a tropical storm. Still not a tremendously strong storm. The Euro, as I said, brings a similar path west of Florida. You see it right there? Very similar. Look, here's the GFS, here's the Euro. GFS, Euro. GFS, Euro. Pretty darn close. So there's some agreement on this now. And then the Euro, as I said, instead of lifting it north, cuts it across and actually turns this into, you know, a tropical storm or maybe even a hurricane brushing the Outer Banks of the Carolinas after 10 days. So those are the two differences in the models. All right, let me show you. This is what the Euro is showing in terms of probability of a tropical depression, which is like 30-mile-an-hour winds, 25, 30-mile-an-hour winds, between Monday, well, up until Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, okay? And look at your probabilities. Let's go back. This is 24 to 72 hours. This is 48 to 96 hours. This is 72 to 120. So see the track? This is where the Euro is talking about probabilities at about a 50 to 60% likelihood of a tropical depression forming. And then look what it does. Again, comes in, goes across, cuts across, and then starts to lift off to the northeast. So that is what the Euro is showing. Your tropical wave is right here. A track kind of like this compared to like this. What a difference a day makes in terms of that model. All right, so there's the meteorology behind it, okay? Now, let's talk about what that means to you, okay? Tomorrow and Friday, we're still going to have a disorganized system. The Hurricane Center is still saying, look, we don't expect this to develop until 48 to 72 hours from now. And it's good that they've kept this at 60% and not bumped it up to 70 because there has been some convection in there today. And you'd think, I kind of thought maybe because there is convection, they might decide to go with it, but they didn't. So that's good. So, time frame, all right? Let's talk about the time frame. So looking at rain, you would expect rain to come in from the south to the north if the Euro and the GFS are remotely close, and Sunday is going to be a day when, I'll go ahead and show you this again, offshore. It's pouring outside right now. You can hear it right outside the studio. So if you're looking at the GFS on Sunday, you've got Sunday at 8 o'clock, the storm, the depression, the blob, is west of the Bay Area, okay? The Euro, same time frame, identical, to quote my cousin Vinny. All right, so you've got Sunday evening, both models, both global models saying we're going to have some significant rains. Saturday, let's look at Saturday. Saturday, it is still well to the south, both models, by the way. So, making plans. Saturday, you're going to have a typical summer day. No impacts from this thing. Even if it starts to get a little bit better organized, here's something a little interesting. Let's say it starts to get better organized on Saturday. That typically would keep us a little drier on the perimeter of it. So Saturday is a day that I think you're going to be okay. Travel plans. Tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, you'll be fine. I don't care if it's Miami to Jacksonville to Tallahassee to Tampa. Travel plans, you're fine on Saturday. Sunday, okay? Let's go back to Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Based on the current models and the fact that we still believe it'll be a ragged but a developing system, okay? I think you're going to have much more significant rain potential on Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. And if this becomes a depression or even a tropical storm by then there might be. Is that my forecast? No. But based on possibilities, and I realize you guys got to make your plans in advance, based on timing, the earliest that this could become an issue for the west coast of Florida would be Sunday afternoon late or Sunday evening. If you have travel plans before then, you're perfectly fine. Okay? Sunday night, Monday into Tuesday, purely still up in the air. The GFS stalls this thing out for 2 days. I mean, that looks like Elena back in '86. But Elena was a hurricane with 90-mile-an-hour winds. This is a ragged system. But if you look at the GFS again, I mean, yes, it keeps it offshore, but it keeps it offshore as it's still a minimal tropical storm at 1,004 millibars. You cannot, the intensity forecast on this is meaningless at this point for a number of reasons. It doesn't exist yet. There's all these variables. The warm water sometimes is underplayed. So let's not even talk about the possibility, because yes, it could be stronger or it could be weaker. So let's don't go there. Let's get us through Sunday evening, okay? Nothing to worry about up until Sunday evening. At Sunday evening, if you're flying in Sunday evening, there is the potential there could be some issues just from the rain and maybe even some wind if worst case plays out and this does turn into, say, a minimal tropical storm by Sunday evening. That could happen. Absolutely could happen, okay? Monday and Tuesday really depends on the track. The Euro stalls it out, cuts across the state Tuesday and Wednesday, and brings it up the eastern seaboard. The GFS stalls it out and instead lifts it up north into that warm water and gets stronger. So to me, that's my bigger concern. I am not concerned about a significant storm impacting the Bay Area southward. North of the Bay Area into the Panhandle and the Gulf Coast, that's something we cannot determine yet, because it all depends on where this, when this, if this, all of those variables that are clearly not set in stone yet. But the difference from today to yesterday is yesterday you had the Euro here, you had the GFS here. Now you have both of them right about here. And that's when we start to see agreements in models, when we start to feel better about it. I don't disagree with the folks who say a week out, why do you bother? Because it changes so much. The reason I bother and have to do it is because there's so many people putting stuff out there that blatantly is incorrect and misinformation, showing worst case scenarios. 3 days ago, the GFS had a big old hurricane right west of Tampa, Saturday or Sunday, whenever it was. And there's going to be people who are going to show that. Look at here, look at here. And so at that point, I'm playing defense, and I got to go in and tell everybody, no, that's nonsense, this and that. So I have to relate to it. At the end of the day, I would love to not go this far out, but look, folks, we have the technology these days to go that far out, and somebody's going to do it, so it's just the way it is. Okay, so that's where we are, okay? You know me, I'll be updating all the time, as well as another DPL tomorrow and Friday. But I can answer some questions for you. Now, streamers, you only have another 3 minutes left. You'll be done at 8, so thank you for checking in for DPL Plus. But Mary, okay, from this point on, I'm now looking at your questions, all right? Someone's asking about shore acres. If we have 2 days of rain in shore acres, there's going to be some flooding. Yes, I am concerned about a stalled out system. Even if this doesn't develop, I think we're looking at significant rain. Now, I'll tell you, I was actually looking at, and I'll show it to you, looking at the rainfall potential. This has not been updated since the models have changed. My guess is, you're looking at a different one. Stand by. My guess is there will be a lot more red over Florida tomorrow when this is updated, or later on tonight. I think there's a pretty decent chance there's a significant rain event. Look, how many of us have been saying, oh, we need a rain, or maybe even a little weak tropical storm to give us all the rain and get our reservoirs back up? This might very well be exactly what we're talking about, all right? Okay, so let's keep looking. I know I missed your questions because I go on a tangent. How much wind and rain in Sarasota? Okay, at this point, I'm not tremendously concerned about wind or rain from Tampa Bay southward. If it's a disorganized system, you're talking 25 to 35. A breezy day on Sunday. A breezy day. If this were to get stronger than we expect, we tackle that. Look, we all know anything can happen in weather. We've seen it before. So what I'm telling you is the most likely scenario, and if I have to change tomorrow as we get closer, you guys get it. You live in Florida. You know how weather is in here. Yes, Saturday good, Sunday rainy. JoJo hit the nail on the head. Okay, Emily, how goes it? All right, so wind, again, at this point, I do not think will be an issue for the Bay Area southward. Citrus County northward, if the GFS is right, could get a little bit more wind. Damaging stuff? No, I don't see it. But later next week, if the GFS is right or whatever, if this storm does go into the Gulf and start to get it stronger, as the GFS has hinted for a while, then there might be some more issues for the northern Gulf Coast. At this point, my forecast is Saturday, normal day. Sunday, increasing rain chances. Monday, rainy, little breezy. Tuesday, system starts to move away and pull the rain along with it. Maybe a little breezier in our northern counties. Travel plans, no issues at all. Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Even inland areas, Orlando, East Coast on Sunday, you'll be fine. If there's any issues with travel, and I don't think there will be, but if there were, it would be later Sunday into Monday on the West Coast. All right, streamers, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7:30. Facebook folks, we're going to continue with your questions. Have a great night. Okay, so next Thursday, Jesse, you're talking this Thursday or next Thursday? Next Thursday, you'll be fine. Will it affect flights? I do not believe it will. Monday is a little bit of an issue. Monday is a question mark at this point. Okay, thank you for the stars. Eric, all stars donated to Children's Miracle Network. Appreciate it, very kind. Eric is my man. He comes and visits our Christmas display every year too, him and his family. Okay, Valerie wants to know if it changed to the West Coast. Yes, the Euro, I want you to remember something. So a storm coming in at this angle right here, right? Just a little bit of a move here, 50 miles in either direction is literally the difference from the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico coming in from that angle. I use the example, if you take your car and you move your steering wheel just a little bit, right? 100 feet down the road, you're not going to move very much. But 5 miles down the road, you're going to be in a totally different county. So just a subtle change in direction early on when it's down in the islands is a much larger change when it gets closer to wherever it's going to. And in this case, it's going to Florida as a rainmaker. Now, once it goes to Florida, is it going to go north? Is it going to do a loop-de-loop like the Euro shows or whatever? Everything's a possibility. And by the way, Elena back in '86 did just that. Went into that area and then stalled out 90 miles northwest of Tampa and just ton of rain and beach erosion for 3 days. So, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we all have seen crazy stuff with storms, especially ragged storms, because stronger storms are way easier to forecast. They follow upper level winds much cleaner, and you know much better where they're going to go. Ragged storms, low level winds are kind of chaotic and they can go anywhere. And at this point, it is still a very ragged system. Okay? Let's go back. Other questions? Elena was 85. Okay, Bridget, thank you. I was working in Gainesville at the time. I remember it well. No, actually, I got to Gainesville in '86, so maybe that's what it was. Thank you for correcting me, Bridget. Dunellen, will it stop? Okay, so again, okay, here we go. Have plans to travel from Toronto to Lauderdale on Saturday. You'll be fine. No travel issues through Saturday. Okay? No. Will it be a tornadic event? If it starts to get a little bit better organized, Allie, it's a possibility. There could be a few, and we would be in the northeast quadrant. So that's way down the road. It's a possibility. It is certainly not, it's way too early to think about that. This doesn't exist yet. It's still a tropical wave, all right? It doesn't even have a low-level circulation. When I say it's still a tropical wave, see where it says tropical wave right here? That's what it is. It isn't even an area of low pressure yet. So expecting a model to pinpoint details when it doesn't even exist per se yet, it's just something we're not able to do. But if we see a depression or a storm moving in from the west side of Florida, then we would be in the northeast quadrant. you know what? That's worth following up on. Let's do that. So, from here, Saharan dust will be lifting north, and you notice where it is right now, there's no real dust, so not a lot though, and it's going to have an opportunity. We all know the sea surface temperatures are ridiculously warm. There's no doubt about that, and that's not going to be changing anytime soon. So in terms of above average, yeah, there it is. The main development region, look at all that warm water, all the way into the Gulf of Mexico. And all that warm water is what obviously concerns us. I mean, that concerns us more than anything. Now, we were asking about development, okay? Well, here it is. So when you have a storm forming, okay, it starts out as just what it is, just an unstable air lifting north, cooling with height, and you begin to get circulation, all right? Right now we're right here. We're at convection. That's where this system is. It's at convection. A little bit down the road, we can start to get some circulation, some development. And when that happens, you then have a low-level circulation, and you could get a depression. But when ocean temps are over 80 degrees, that's the magic number. We often say it's got to be 80 degrees or above for these to develop. Well, it's over 80. In fact, it's over 90 in some of these spots. And then from there, once you have circulation and organized clouds and thunderstorms with winds less than 38 miles an hour, you have a tropical depression. Orlando will be fine, Lenore. This is a rain event at this point. Next Friday, you're all good, Tanya. Then, if it gets stronger, it becomes a tropical storm. Then, if it gets stronger, it becomes a hurricane. A lot of warm water out there. I suspect we are going to be seeing from August through October some significant action. If you do the math, what is that, 78% of all named storms happen from August to October. So over 3/4 of all the storms. But you asked about the development in terms of the season. We are just now entering the heart of the hurricane season. Look at August 1. From here on out, it starts to crank. And in the month of August, this is what we can expect. Okay? This is where the storms form in the month of August, whether it's the Bay of Campeche, the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean is another trouble spot, but obviously out in the tropical Atlantic. And this is the one that usually would curve. And look at those tracks. More often than not, a storm out there, if the area of high pressure is strong enough, will curve away from land. I would not cancel any flights to Orlando at all. I would not cancel any travel to Orlando at all. I'll get back to that in a second. Quadrants, this is what I wanted to talk about. The northeast quadrant is traditionally the worst quadrant and the one that often has tornadoes as the storm is moving from south to north. By the way, we're not saying this is going to become a hurricane. We're just saying this is Hurricanes 101. Front left is where your surge is. Again, none of this is likely going to impact anywhere around the Bay Area south. We cannot completely write off the possibility of the northern Gulf Coast being impacted by a hurricane out of this. It is a possibility. I don't know how high of a possibility, but that possibility is not zero. There's your tropical wave, and that's the track that it's going to take, all right? So let's go back and answer some more questions. All right, there's your rain potential. Okay, again, a lot of folks asking about Disney. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. Bring your poncho. Maybe the lines will be less. It's not going to be bad enough to close Disney. There's not going to be travel issues into Orlando. You're all good. And with this kind of a track, the East Coast is probably good from Jacksonville all the way to Fort Lauderdale, Miami. You're fine. Okay? You are fine. So, is there any possibility this moves west toward Louisiana? Amanda, there is. It's not a high probability, but it is possible. The way I see it, if this thing goes out like the GFS, out into the waters of the Gulf, at that point, it could, you all know it could probably go anywhere. I mean, here's the GFS. No, that's the Euro, rather. Keep doing that. No, that's the GFS. And look what it does. It goes, and it ends up going, Mobile. It's way out there, so it's probably not going to be right. Polk County is going to rain. Okay. If you're just tuning in, let me give you one more quick update, okay? It's going to rain on Sunday, later, and Monday. Friday's fine. Saturday's fine. No travel issues. Typical rainy August weather, scattered storms on Friday and Saturday. Nothing to worry about. Sunday, ragged low pressure probably comes in the vicinity of Florida. Rain chances go up. We might have a day or two of rain if that plays out that way, and there could be some flooding issues. Not so much surge, flooding issues from excess freshwater flooding from rain. Areas like shore acres and whatnot. That is a possibility on Sunday night and into Monday. And when you look at the Euro and the GFS, here's the GFS. This is Sunday night at 8 o'clock, right? There's Monday. No, this is the Euro. It keeps moving on me. All right, so here's the GFS Sunday night. And right here, there's Sunday night, low pressure to our west. There's overnight Sunday night. That's a weak tropical storm moving into the Big Bend, okay? That's what the GFS says. The Euro has it in a similar spot. See, this is what I was talking about. There's the agreement that we were looking for. Monday morning, GFS. Monday morning, Euro. Almost identical positions. All right? The GFS is a little more organized than the Euro, a lot more organized than the Euro, actually. And then the Euro kind of goes across the state as a rainmaker through Tuesday night and then exits Wednesday or Thursday off the southeast coast. So potentially this could be a significant rainmaker, and there could be some flooding out of it. And that would be the entire state from Jacksonville south. So my fiance's bridal shower is Sunday at noon in Tampa Bay. There's nothing to worry about other than the fact that it's probably going to rain. But even Sunday at noon, you might even luck out, okay? To be very clear, there's nothing to freak out over this. This is a disorganized system that the Hurricane Center barely says has a 50-50 chance of even developing in the first place, all right? Let's be real clear about that right now, all right? Hurricane Center right now says there's a 60% chance this even develops into a depression. That's barely 50-50, okay? The GFS and the European both take this as a ragged system for the next 2 or 3 days and don't develop it until Sunday. Sunday's development is still just a depression or maybe a weak storm. Nothing to it other than some significant rain potential. Eventually, the middle of next week, the GFS turns it north and tries to turn it into a more organized system. That's a week out. 7 days is hard enough. 7 hours can be hard enough with these things. You got nothing to worry about. Step away from the ledge. You got nothing to worry about, okay? Travel through Sunday, fine. Sunday and Monday are probably fine too. It's just going to be rainy. That's all we got. The fact that the models are so close to each other now in terms of development and spots is a good thing because it gives us more confidence in this forecast. All right? Alex, how you doing? Nice to see you. Randy. You're right, long time no chat. Randy was one of our original chat folks forever ago. Okay, could Pinellas County get 6+ inches of rain? Kenneth, Pinellas County's had 7 inches of rain the last 3 days. St. Pete had 7 inches of rain in 1 day. So yeah, absolutely, there could be 6+ inches of rain. No doubt in my mind. And with both, and I'll take this full, you don't need to see me. With both models showing a similar track, it absolutely, and even more than that, hanging out for a day or two, we could definitely be looking at a significant rain event and some flooding. Yes. In my mind, they do go so fast, Kenneth. They just fly by. Outdoor concert in Clearwater on Sunday, a good chance of rain. Okay? Nothing to be scared of. There's Kevin. Oh, Kevin, you're a funny guy. Kevin, did you ask your dad to apply for the Great American Christmas Light Fight? they came to me. I said I couldn't do it because I work for ABC, and I suggested for them to look at your dad's place. So this is kind of inside discussions here, but he really should. I mean, the house is awesome, and they were looking for people. So you might want to ask him to do it if he wanted to do it. It is a lot of work, though. You got to put you guys might not know this. If you don't follow me, I'm a massive Christmas light guy, and in my neighborhood, they go crazy. So, but I know people who have done the Great American Christmas Light Fight. It's on ABC. It's a network show. You got to put it up in the middle of the summer. You put them up. They actually have the competition in the summer. I can't even imagine going out in this kind of heat and doing that. Anyway, flights on Monday. Okay, at this point, Michael, it's a good question. At this point, based on the Euro and the GFS, I don't even think we're going to have flight delays on Monday. I think it's going to be more rain event than wind. If the Euro is right, we will never have flight delays. If the GFS is right, it could get a little rougher in the Big Bend area, and there might be some delays on Monday. Okay? Travel August 8th, Beth, you'll be fine. Okay? I'm scrolling through. Thank you, Madeline. Very kind. Again, all stars. Benefits go toward Children's Miracle Network. Thank you, Anne. You're on your way in a Cozumel to a cruise. You will, Madeline, you leave on Thursday. It might be a little bumpy. I went on that same cruise and the ship was listing like this with 70-mile-an-hour winds. So you got this. But it might be a little bumpy for you. It's not going to be dangerous, but it might be a little bumpy. That's what I would say. Traveling from Texas to Clearwater on Monday, you'll be fine, Sandy. Again, I don't think flights to Tampa will have an impact whatsoever. Might there be delays just because of rain? Yes, but they're not going to close the airport because of wind or rain at this point. Again, unless something unforeseen happens. Has anything ever unforeseen happened in the world of weather? Yeah. But at this point, I'm just not going to do what ifs. What if it turned in? Anything can happen. We all know that. So let's at least try to keep it a little less confusing and say what we think is going to happen. Rain Sunday night, rain Monday, rain Tuesday, not a lot of wind. GFS may then at that point take this back out in the Gulf and go up north and get stronger in that warmer Gulf water. That's the forecast. I don't see any delays for Tampa. I don't see any issues for Tampa southward. I don't see any issues. Fort Myers, I know you're after Ian. I get it. No issues for Fort Myers. No issues for Naples. No issues for Sarasota. No issues for Clearwater, other than some significant rain. Haines City Sunday morning. Carla, you got nothing. You're fine. I know, Gretchen, I'm trying, but I keep getting questions. So if they keep saying, I'm just trying to reiterate. Okay. Never mind. I'll keep the smiley face on. Severe weather. Don't expect any significant, but being in the northeast quadrant, there is the possibility we could see a few water spouts. Don't see any surge. Big Bend area, if it were to develop further, maybe a little bit, but not for Tampa South. Orlando, you're fine, just some rain. Anna Maria Island, you're fine, just some rain. Flying to Carolinas to Tampa Monday afternoon. There's going to be some rain and even a little breezy weather, but I don't think it's going to be bad enough that they'll delay flights. All right? So I think that's about it, guys, because at this point, thank you, Ashley, appreciate it. Fort White area. Again, I would say, hold on. Look at something. Okay. So anywhere from, say, the Big Bend north, there is the chance there's going to be a little bit more wind with this. Chance. But like I said, I'll say this again. The Hurricane Center only has this as a 60% chance of even developing at all. So it's certainly possible that it won't develop at all. But Fort White, I would say you at least have the chance of getting some winds of 35 to 40 if this were to develop like the GFS and the Euro is saying. But I'm telling you, honestly, even giving a forecast this far out for something like that is almost ridiculous because it's so far out. At this point, I don't think we have any travel delays. I don't think we have any issues. The GFS hints at something a little bit more early next week, and we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get a little bit closer to it, I guess is my point. Cocoa Beach Sunday or Monday, you're fine. Cocoa Beach, the East Coast is fine, regardless. Boating on Sunday morning in Tampa, you're probably okay, because wind isn't going to be an issue. I mean, there might be some rain out there, but I think you're okay. Leaving out of the port on Sunday, headed to the Keys and Cozumel, you could expect some rain and some choppy seas. Panama City Tuesday, too early to tell for sure. That one's too tricky. It could be anything. It could. If the GFS is right, I mean, it's predicting a hurricane the end of next week, but it's 10 days out. And it's hardly ever right that far out. Southeast Coast, Okeechobee area, Vicky, you're fine. Anybody on the East Coast is fine right now. Now, let me throw a caveat. You heard me talk early on about the wind chill effect. West, east, west, east. Is it possible that in 6 or 12 hours the euro is going to go back east? Yeah, because that's what they do. But when you have agreement, like we have here, GFS, euro, very similar, it gives us a better likelihood to think that that's what's going to happen. Plant City, Mulberry, don't worry about it. It's going to rain a little bit. Miami flights on Sunday, Fern, you're fine. Nothing, no issues. Rule number 7 is 100% in effect. There is nothing to freak out about this. Okay? So yeah, so my goal is, Eric Albany, New York. Miami, Bahamas, Friday to Monday, looking better. Yesterday, that was looking a little dicey. It looked like it could be a little rough. Don't think it's going to be now. So you should be good. Okay? Yes, I will be doing these every night, Susanna. Disney, Monday to Friday, you'll be fine. It's going to rain Monday and Tuesday, but Lindsay, I would. So that's it. All right, guys? Laszlo, was that Laszlo? Laszlo, you hit the nail on the head. As at this point, Laszlo, and everybody else is going to rain. Later Sunday into Monday. We'll reconvene here tomorrow at 7:30. I am going to do a little video later tonight as I look at some new data. I don't think there's going to be any changes, but we kind of covered it. If you're just tuning in, again, East Coast, it's changed. The models are shifting a little bit more to the west. It's a disorganized, weak system that's going to provide no issues for flights through Sunday, late Sunday night into Monday. Rain will probably pick up for the Bay Area and much of the state for that matter. Monday into Tuesday, track dependent on who sees most of it. GFS is a little more aggressive, turning this into something a little bit stronger. The euro takes it back across the state and then up the eastern seaboard. So clearly we need a few more days. Hurricane Center says there's only a 60% chance this develops, so it's by no means set in stone. We got 3 months of this, folks. You got 3 months. Pace yourselves, take a deep breath. We got this. Not a big deal at this point, just some rain. And we will reconvene tomorrow because I have a feeling there will be many, many more opportunities for development and relating to Florida in August and September and October. It's just the beginning. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. The stalking turtle is out there. Let's hope it keeps its head in and we just have ourselves just some rain, which is never a bad thing, all right? So have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow, and I will do another video update if anything changes later on. Thanks for checking out DPL Plus, and have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.